My brother and his family came for a visit last month. My kids and I play with Lego and have fun leaving little dioramas around my house. Just silly stuff like a fight between Iron Man and Darth Vader on the Loot Llama. It's just our way of leaving Easter eggs around the house. My nephew really liked them and decided to take a few home. When we noticed they were missing, I asked my brother to bring them back. He said that it was just kids being kids and that he would bring them back the next time we saw each other. I saw him for coffee and reminded him beforehand that I wanted all our stuff back. He forgot to bring the toys. Okay, game on. We went over to his place for a barbecue. Nice. I told my kids that unless all our stuff was returned to us when we got there, literally anything in the house was fair game. Like the godless barbarians they are, they went to town. When we left, I don't think there were any remotes, small electronics, or beer mugs left at his house. I actually had to sneak the dog back into the house before we left. I started getting calls on our way home. I ignored them. When I got home, I returned his calls. He said a bunch of stuff was missing from his house. I said I would check with the kids. He said that I fucking well knew what happened and that he wanted his shit back. I said I would box it up and return it the next time we saw each other, as long as we got our Lego back. He was at my house with my Lego later that evening. He had even accidentally included stuff that wasn't ours. I returned it and his stuff. I told him that this is how we would be dealing with his kid in the future. He is pissed off that he had to make a special trip to return my stuff. My parents think that there is a huge difference between an 8-year-old taking Lego minifigures and a couple of teenagers pillaging their uncle's house. Am I the a-hole?
This user says,
I actually had to sneak the dog back into the house before we left. I laughed for the first time since my horse recently died reading this. NTAETA. I understand you think this is funny, but you can also have some sensitivity for my loss. Make jokes if you want, but please don't comment things like, I was laughing when my horse died, or murder, etc. Just don't cross the line, please.
A Reddit user comments,
So you were literally at his house? And they didn't give the Legos his kids stole back to you? Unless your nephew is intellectually compromised in some way, 8 years old is absolutely old enough to know that stealing is wrong. Nicely played.
This user says,
I love that they even got the dog. Lol, an 8-year-old knows not to take toys, stuff from others. Well played.
A user chips in with,
This is why I'm never leaving this site. What a great story. I love that the kids understood the assignment. Maybe this will teach the nephew not to take things that aren't his. The kid sounds like a spoiled brat.
This user says,
Not the a-hole. Tell your parents the biggest difference here is that you immediately returned his things instead of trying to keep them until he decided it wasn't worth it anymore. Yeah, the kid shouldn't take stuff, but your brother's response is the biggest issue.
A user chips in with,
Your brother knew you guys were coming over for a barbecue, so he could have had your belongings boxed up and handed to you to put in the car when you showed up. Instead, he just didn't do anything and had to make a special trip. It sounds like you mentioned it to him a few times and he just brushed it off. Maybe he should actually return things that don't belong to him, not the eye-hole.
A Reddit user comments,
You're the asshole in the most endearing passive-aggressive sibling rivalry sort of way. Shots are fired now, so I'd be on the lookout for your brother. I wonder what your wives say about all this.
This user says,
An 8-year-old should already be taught not to take things that aren't his. However, your brother has absolutely no excuse for keeping your things that his son took. It was amazing how quickly he rectified his son's theft and his compliance when it affected him directly. Well done.